Here's a question that some distraught parents asked that I thought was important enough for us to answer, because I just get the idea that they're sitting at home on the couch crying, thinking, oh no, we have a rotten son and he's miserable and we don't know what to do. Anyway, they asked this. They said, he spent money from our credit card on stuff for his games, hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars. We're still investigating this. What should the punishment be for this? What is too much or too little punishment? He's about 14 years old. We are just really at a loss and heartbreaking over this. Well, let me speak to this, Mom and Dad. You know, I think what I want you to know more than anything else is that you're not failures because your child makes a poor decision. I think kids, especially young men, get consumed with video games, and they get something from them. I mean, it was John Eldridge who said that all men need a beauty to fight for, an adventure to live, and I think it's a beauty to rescue, an adventure to live, and a battle to something, which is all found in video games. And so for our young men who are visually stimulated, that's why men have such a problem with pornography, is because it's visually stimulating. So is a video game, you know, and I think there's a part of it. That's why I never hear of girls that are addicted to video games. But I think the other part of it is it's kind of a release. A young man feels like he can accomplish something. He feels like he can be that. He can live that adventure. He has a beauty to rescue, and he has a battle to fight, and that's kind of made inside of him, and he gets to express that through a video game. And one young man told me this. He goes, Mark, if I told you and showed you some video games, you'd get hooked yourself because they're so fun. And I sat there and I thought, well, maybe that's why I don't play video games, because I know that I would be consumed by it. So I think the first part is understanding the pull that is there. If you have a child that's anxious, this may be a way that they take a little vacation, get out of their anxiety. If they're depressed, they get out of their depression by playing video games. If they feel like they're a loser, perhaps a video game makes them feel more like a young man, especially when they're 13 and 14 years old, awkward, stumble all over themselves, trying to grow hair out of their armpits, and the hormones are racing. They feel dorky and can't do anything. At least they can accomplish something more than mowing the yard or throwing papers. I think when people begin to understand what's motivating a child's behavior, then you start focusing on the issues. Behavior is the visible expression of the invisible issues. And so the tendency is to say, well, let's punish him. That's all we need to do is just punish him. I would encourage you in this. Go a little bit deeper. Find out why he is so motivated that way. What is he getting out of what he's doing? And he may not be able to answer those questions. But when you start to prod and to pry a little bit and to dive into his life, there may be some other things happening in his life that he is willing to violate the values and all the lessons and principles that you've taught him to meet the need in his life the only way that he knows how. He can't go on vacation like you and I can. He can't have a glass of wine at night and relax. He doesn't like sitting around meeting with people. So he escapes from the pressure of the culture that you and I have said we're glad that we don't have to grow up in. So get to the bottom of it and find out what's really happening with this child. Now the second part of it is there needs to be a consequence. I think there needs to be a consequence in a way that he learns you don't ever do this again. First love, and then the consequence. And it may be saying to him, you know what? Summer's coming. You're going to need to mow yards, do something, wash cars, wash dogs, do both, babysit, paint houses, work with your dad to pay back the money because you've stolen and you've been disrespectful to somebody else. And it may be saying that I'm going to take away your video games because this is not how you do it. But be careful with that. And I say that because if that's his crutch and his coping mechanism for dealing with some other issues in his life, it only means that he'll revert to something else. And Lord knows that the stuff that kids have availability to today is something that's a little bit harsher than just a video game. So you don't want to push your child that way. Take it as an opportunity to draw your child to you. You can still have consequences. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to get mad. You could just share with them that this is what it's going to be. And until it's done, you're not paying for a cell phone. Until that money is paid back, you're not doing these other things. And you don't want to be so hard on him that, if he's stolen $1 million, there's no way he's going to make all that back by walking dogs and watching dogs and bathing dogs, or, he's not going to, so he's going to feel hopeless. So it may be that you help him in some way. But, I think it's a good lesson to learn, but it's a good lesson to learn where you can affirm the relationship and get to the heart of the issue, because there's usually some reason why a child would violate the principles that a mom and dad have taught them. Good luck. Let me know how this turns out.